Okay, so inside Photoshop, we're going to open up the Leaping Dancer and then click Open. So we're going to start here. And because this dancer is against a white background, we're going to always do path of least resistance first. So I'm going to give you guys a minute to make sure we have our dancer open. Go ahead and make sure we have our dancer open. In step 1, you will notice that they have you guys use the quick selection tool, which we know where that is. It's underneath. You have object selection and quick selection. These are our two tools that we've been focusing on when we've been selecting and masking. So you can go to the quick selection tool, use your brackets on your keyboard to the right of the P to make it larger and smaller. And you can just click and drag or paint a rough sketch around this dancer. We can fix it later. So for example, I need to come in now, toggle with my minus sign, my subtract from selection, and go cut out around her belt loop. I need to add her suspender back. I'm going to subtract around her stomach. It looks like I'm going to add a tiny bit around her chin, so I'm going to go to a really small brush. I would prefer, I'm also going to add a little more to her hair. We will, it says in the tutorial, don't worry about it a super bunch because we will go in and add those details, but I'm going to go grab a little more hair than it has here currently. Then I'll come back into the minus. Remember, we're just toggling back and forth with our quick selection with the plus and minus. If you also wanted to go object selection to see how that worked, that would be just fine also. So this is what my selection area looks like by using the quick selection tool back and forth. Then I didn't get enough of the sole of her shoe. I'm going to add a little over here. And then the next option is to add a layer mask. And so we know that the difference in the different masking is it says add a layer mask. We're going to go to the layers panel and go down to the layer mask icon, which is that rectangle and the circle around it. So then I'm going to click. And not bad. I am going to clean up around her hair pretty soon. I'm going to go back and I'm going to Command D to deselect. I'm going to see what object selection does. So go to my object selection tool, which is my fourth tool down left-hand side. I'm going to make that box. And yeah, it does pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. Now I'm going to go clean up with my quick selection this time. I'm going to add around her torso. Does pretty. I'm going to add around the shoe. Didn't pick up because the white. And looks pretty awesome, actually. I'm going to add a little bit more under her chin to get a fine line. Okay, and then I'm going to add a layer mask. And I like working from this selection a little more. Actually, I need to go back here. So if I need to fix little parts, for example, I got on one of her shoes closest to the audience, I'm going to zoom in and add that back. Okay, so I'm going to go to my brush tool now, to the tiniest little brush. I'll bracket down. Oops.
Wait, how did you remove the background?
To do a layer mask on the layer thumbnail. So go to the layers panel. Go to the layers panel, and it's that tiny little rectangle with the circle cut out. Uh-huh.
I don't really need it right now, but I don't have the object select tool.
Oh, okay. It's under. Do you see your three dots on your toolbar? You can go grab it there. Okay, so what I am doing now is I went to get a general soft brown brush, and then I am going to switch it to white as my foreground color so I can reveal what's underneath and go grab her shoe. So I'm literally rebuilding to go grab the sole of her shoe. Then I'm going to come in through the hair and I will go to black. I'll switch my foreground and background colors. I will use the brackets to decrease the size of my brush even further. And I'm just going to go help it out a little bit before I move on. I'm going to go erase around some of the edges of this hair, what I can get. Because again, I'm just going to try to help it out just a little bit for when I do all the refine edges. Okay, let me come snag a look. Okay, let me come snag a look. Okay, let's see. So underneath, let me see what's underneath your quick selection.
Oh.
So you can operate for that, and then you can restart your computer like on your off days and update and reinstall. It's fine. All it is basically it reads it more for you. It's kind of like a more automated quick selection.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've used it before.
That's so weird. Yeah.
How do I like add something?
Okay, so click on your layer mask thumbnail. Now go to your brush tool. Okay, and then change your brush to one of the general ones. There you go, like this one. There you go. Now you'll want to decrease the size of it like majorly. Yeah. You'll want to go. You might just want to do slider down. Okay, who else needs help while we're up and around? Good, 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 good. Okay, looking good.
This isn't working.
So do your black. Switch your colors. There you go. Okay. Why isn't that working? Let me see there. I've got my highlighter. I've got my brush. I'm on the road. Let's see if I can see outliners. Oh, okay. Okay, so it's not picking up. That's what okay, now we're good. It's doing it now. I don't know what the hell it was. Okay, so I need to switch my colors here.
Okay, thank
There
you.
you go. I don't care what that was. Okay. So we are, all I'm continuing is to take my brush, and I am creating a little transparency where I feel like I need it. I need to add part of her suspenders back. So I'm going to switch my foreground and background because I want to reveal what's underneath. I'm going to rebuild this. And then I'll switch back to when I want to conceal. Reveal and conceal. I will be switching back and forth, back and forth. This looks pretty good. So I'm going to zoom back out. And I like the start of this. We're going to refine as we keep going. So that was pretty much step 1, which was page 2 in the tutorial. Okay, we know when it says add a layer mask icon, that's the rectangle with the circle cut out. Okay, the base of the layers panel to do the masking. When it asks for a layer mask thumbnail, that is the black box next to it. That's the black box next to it. So if I need to make sure I'm inside the layer mask thumbnail when I want to reveal or conceal using my brush panel. All right, now the second thing we're going to do is step 2, where we open the exploding image in a separate category. Like we file open and we're going to open the powder in a totally separate Photoshop document. So I'm going to leave my dancer as is. I'm going to go file open and navigate to where you saved the exploding powder image. Wonder what I saved it as powder spray. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a second to open up the powder spray. You're not going to place, you're going to file open. File open. When you get there, you can go ahead and unlock also. So once we open up this powder spray, and the directions want us to rotate it. They want us to rotate it a little bit. So I'm going to go to Command T right off the bat, and I will rotate this spray so that the yellow is on the bottom, the red is on the top, the pink is on the right. So I'm going to rotate this spray. And again, every time I see this check mark, I have to commit that edit. And boom. Now, in order to fill this in, what would be some way I could fill in my corners? Like if you look to the back, I have some corners that are now transparent. What would be one way I could fill this in? Yes, absolutely. So I can just go to my default colors. Then I would hang out and go to the paint bucket tool, which is on the left-hand side about 12 down under the gradient. And then I could just go in and paint bucket. That would work. I can go in with a new fill layer behind there. That would work. So I have rotated it. Then I went in and did some paint bucketing to fix it all. And then in about 30 seconds, we're going to bring our dancer in. So go ahead and open up your powder spray.
They won't let me do the paint bucket.
So make sure, do you have your background layer unlocked?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, do you have your paint bucket selected?
Yeah.
And what's it saying when you try to click on it?
A circle with an X. Like a line through it.
Are you on a layer? Like on your layers panel, do you have that layer selected?
Yeah.
It's so weird. I wonder if there's something wrong with your Photoshop. Oh, we have live paint. That's 3D. So it's underneath your gradient tool. Let's go get it. There you go. There you go. Okay, so now we're going to do is that we're going to put this dancer on top. We're going to put this dancer on top of the powder. So go to your dancer. Okay, you can do an old-fashioned copy paste. So edit copy, then come back to powder, and then edit paste or Command V. Go to your move tool, move it over. Command T to resize the dancer. Whatever you'd like to do. You can also come in with your move tool, your V tool, click and drag it up and over. I'm going to put that here for a second, sorry. I'm going to put this on my, there we go. All right, so I'm going to do a click and drag up and over. Ba-bam. Command T, I can resize. There's several different ways to do this. I'm going to put her a little larger than this, right about there. Right about there. I'm just checking on step 2. And anytime we see that bounding box or anytime we see that check mark, we know that we have to commit that edit. So I go ahead and click return. So I'm going to give you guys about 30 seconds to make sure you have your dancer copied and pasted into your powder spray. Okay, we're getting ready to start step number 3, and then this is where instead of using select to refine mask, which was in older versions of Photoshop, we're going to use select to select and mask. Same functionality, same everything, but you just get to it a little different way. It's now called up to select and down to select and mask. You can also do this on the properties panel. You can also do this on the properties panel. Okay, so step number 3 says let's refine the clothing and skin edges of the dancer so they exhibit believable softness and show no evidence of fringing in your selection area. In the layers panel, activate the mask for the dancer layer number 1. So I'm going to go to my layer mask for my dancer layer number 1. We're going to go up to select, down to select and mask, and it wants us to slide the feathering over. Let me go make my selection. And part of my menu is missing right now. There is a way to go ahead and use the object selection inside of your select and mask. I'm so confused where all of my options are.
How did you get there?
Up to select and down to select and mask. might just have to go via properties as my other one is not giving me all of that. So I will go through the properties panel. Notice that when I select the layer mask and go to the properties panel, Photoshop knows that I want to change the feathering. I'm going to increase this feathering. I can even refine it further with the select and mask. I'm going to do a little less feathering. You can tell this would be, it puts a glow. Look, it puts a glow out around her. I'm going to do a little less feathering, just so it feels soft. And that's okay that her hair still has some of the background in between it. We're going to keep working on that. You can toggle back and forth if you get to that spot where I was, where I didn't see my select and mask options. You could escape out and then go to your properties. Now, this properties won't pop up as layer mask unless you click in the layer mask thumbnail for that particular layer. Okay, so all we did was we feathered out our edges a little bit so she looked soft. And now we're on to step 4, and it says, even though the dancer was captured on a white background, producing an accurate selection of her hair is extremely challenging. Fortunately, since she was captured on a white background, we are going to do a little trick. Okay, we're gonna do a trick with the subject layer active. Okay, so go ahead and make your dancer layer active. Do a Command J to duplicate the layer. So do a Command J to copy the layer. Then it says turn off the visibility of the original dancer layer. So click the eyeball by layer 1. And then we're going to right click on the duplicate layers mask thumbnail and choose delete layer mask. So this says right click on the duplicate layers mask thumbnail, the layer 1 copy, which is a control click, and delete layer mask, And bam, it comes back to, hold on, we're not quite done. Okay, this looks like, oh man, that didn't work. But in step 4, then it says change the blend mode, which we know a blend mode is on their layers panel, from normal to multiply. And look, voila, her hair is refined.
Where did you do that?
So I'll go back to that. So I am on, I'm going to go all the way back. So I'm on step 4. Okay, so I know that you guys, some of you have paper, some of you don't. So step 4, what we're going to do is make sure, I'm going to step all the way back. So we have the dancer layer. Okay, right, correct? We have the dancer layer. What we're going to do is we're going to Command J to jump this layer. Okay, Command J to jump this layer. Go ahead and turn off the visibility for layer 1, the original dancer layer. So click the eyeball next to layer 1 to get rid of that, to change the visibility of that layer. Now go to the layer 1 copy thumbnail, the black layer mask thumbnail. Okay, control click, and delete layer mask. Delete layer mask. Now you're like, whoa, what am I going to do here? Then keep reading where it says change the blend mode, which is on our layers panel, from normal to multiply. And look how cool that looks. That looks cool too.
No,
But,
I mean, like, where's the blend mode?
oh, on top of your layers, in your layers panel,
Yeah.
instead of the word normal, just to the left of opacity, use the pull down.
What do we change it to?
To multiply, from normal to multiply. So this immediately solved the hair edge problem, but notice how I can see a slight square. I can see a slight square around where we did all of the different showing and hiding and blend modes. Okay. It's barely visible, but we still need to take care of that. So to get rid of that perimeter line that we barely see up above her head, we're going to add a layer mask to this layer 1 copy. Then we will go to our brush tool, our B on our keyboard. I need to bracket up so I make my brush larger. I need to make sure it's 100%, 100%. And then I'm just going to drag my layer mask. There we go. I need to go up to 100% on my opacity. There you go. There's just a faint square around there that I'm going to go get rid of. Awesome. And we are still on step 4.
How is the father?
You don't know yet.
Oh,
No. There gets some more detail. It makes it very cool. It's just a little more detailed. Okay, we're still on step 4. Step 4. If you're following along on the paper, we're on page 7. We're on page 7. Now we have this. Now we have our dancer pretty dark, and we need to restore some light to her. Okay, so we're going to restore light to the dancer. Activate the original dance layer. Okay, so activate the original dance layer and turn on the visibility of the duplicate layer and drag it to the top of the stack. So actually, I'm going to duplicate this layer and I'm going to drag it up. Trying to see what I like best. Okay, let me come back. Okay. Okay, I am going to page 7. Let me stop. I'm going to stop this video